So let's now learn about the cardinal vowels. What I haven't mentioned is that Daniel Jones used an X-ray to produce these vowels and to plot them onto the vowel space. And I will attach a photo of several cardinal vowels on the next slide. There are two anchor vowels, cardinal vowel number 1 and number 5, which are E and A. Cardinal vowel number 1 is E and was defined as having the tongue body as high and forward in the mouth as possible, short of creating a fricative there, with the lips as spread as possible. So the nearest example in English is an extremely fronted and extremely high vowel in the word heed. Heed. For example, short of becoming a fricative, so if you push your tongue, if you push yourself to produce such a vowel, E, you end up producing some hissing sound if you go further high and further front. So you produce some kind of a fricative. Cardinal vowel number 5 positions the tongue as low and as far back as possible when the jaw is open wide, or wide open. You have to nearly swallow your tongue to make this one. So you use ah, and then I'm producing some kind of fricative or pharyngeal sound back down in the throat. So you would say ah, right, as much as possible. Okay, one of the things about these vowels is that the remaining vowels are spaced at equal intervals, which I will show later, of frontness and height. So frontness and height between the anchor vowels. The cardinal vowel number 8 as well is important because when you make this cardinal vowel, you move the tongue as high and as back in the mouth as possible, with the lips tightly pursed and rounded, such as ooh, before becoming something like a fricative that you cannot. It does not have any vocalic quality. The other cardinals between 1 and 8 were described in terms of how they sounded relative to these three extremes. So we have three corner vowels that were used to define the rest of the cardinal vowels. I'll show you an X-ray. So this is an X-ray of Jones's cardinal vowels, and Jones writes in his book that a chain of small lead plates strung together was placed on the tongue. So here, right, this is a chain of small lead plates strung together on the tongue, and it stretched for further back. I applaud his courage to show the outline of the tongue, right? And the little red thing was the reference point, sort of, that they had when they did the X-ray. So you have E, which is front, front and high, and U, which is high, but not as high as E in this respect. You can see that, and back in the mouth, right? So as I say, these are again relative to each other. Then you have A, which is front, but still not as front as E for sure, and it is most certainly not as back as this one, ah, and as low as ah, right? So sometimes you could describe these in terms so sometimes you might encounter this kind of vowel space where E is a little bit higher than U, and A is almost at the same height as U. Then here you would have I, and so on and so forth. Even with I guess maybe I can draw a little bit here with ah here, you would have back there, right? So you would have something like that when you would produce these. But this is not a standard vowel space, and we will use a standard one, which I have shown in the previous lessons, and which I will show on the next slide. and we will see how Daniel Jones produced these, and listen to the production of Daniel Jones's cardinal vowels. So here they are. You can see that they are equally spaced, right? E, E, and A, and E, and E, and A, right? These front vowels are equally spaced. These back vowels are equally spaced. Normally, I would ask you to produce them with me in a choir fashion, but you can do this at home whenever you're comfortable, when nobody's watching. And let's listen to them.
Number 1. E.
E.
Number 2. E.
E.
Number 3. E.
E.
Number 4. Ah.
As if you are opening a throat for your doctor. Okay,
Number 5. Ah. Number 6. Ah. Number 7. O. Number 8. Ooh.
Right. So I hope you sang along because that's fun. Jones, yeah, number 5. I have to say that number 5 is actually an unrounded, contrasting the lip movement from the rest of the back vowels. So you have rounded here vowels from 6 to 8, but number 5 is actually unrounded, which will become important for the secondary cardinal vowels. So Jones is trying in this recording to use the same pitch throughout all the recordings in order to remove this variable of pitch. So all things being equal, he wants to produce them based on their quality, on their height and frontness. But because he's older, his muscles do not cooperate with him to this extent, and he's really unable to retain this pitch throughout the whole sequence. However, vowels also have intrinsic pitch, and you can kind of tell me which are higher in pitch and which are lower. So try producing E and A, and feel free to let me know which you think are higher and lower. Kind of a deep thought question for you. Another deep thought question for you might be which are louder, whether it's E or A. In normal speech, you don't have to make them louder. Just let me know. I can give you a hint that perhaps low vowels are louder than high vowels because of the openness of the jaw, and much of the air pressure is coming out of your mouth, so a lot of energy is being produced there. So yeah, these are the cardinal vowels recorded by Jones in 1965.
Number 1. E. Number 2. A. Number 3. E. Number 4. Ah. Number 5. Ah. Number 6. O. Number 7. O. Number 8. Ooh.
So numbers 9 through 16 were called secondary vowels, and they are defined as having the exact same tongue positions as number 1 through 8, but with opposite lip position with the exception of 1, right? So cardinal vowel number 9, in this case, number 9 has the tongue body as high and as forward in the mouth as possible, just like number 1, but with the lips pursed or rounded instead of spread. So we would produce it something like, instead of saying E, you round your lips, E, 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 and there you go. So I do apologize for the echo that's present in these audio recordings, but bear with me and just try to produce them to the best of your ability. You can also listen to me, and you can also listen to these at home, right? Except for 13 that breaks the pattern, the rest of the back vowels are unrounded. So these are all unrounded vowels, but 13 is actually rounded. So we have to pay attention to that feature. So let's listen to these and try to sing along as we go.
Number 9. E.
E.
Number 10. E.
E.
Number 11. Number 12. Number 13. Number 14.
Okay.
Number 15.
So,
Number 16. Number 16.
So instead of ooh, you don't round your lips, so you say something like that. So you have to just know the mechanics in order to produce them to the best of your ability. I would say for number 12 that it's this vowel, unlike the rest of the vowels, does not exist actually. I mean, all of these vowels do not exist in a language system, which I will tell you more about in the next two slides. But the idea is that this vowel can be produced, but it does not exist actually anywhere in any language yet. The rest of the vowels or the rest of the symbols are familiar to people who speak these languages, who possess these vowels. Although, as I said, pay attention, cardinal vowels do not actually exist. However, the symbols are the same that we use for worlds, for the vowels of the world languages, which we will see in some future lesson. All right, so these were the secondary vowels.
Number 9. E. Number 10. E. Number 11. Number 12. Number 13. Number 14. Number 15. Number 16.
So why are the primary cardinal vowels primary and not secondary? Well, it is possible that these were adopted from the French vowel system to be used as reference points. It's a Eurocentric view, I know, but Jones was influenced by it, of course, and he started from there. We will use this Eurocentric view or explanation as English vowels correspond to some French vowels. So I would normally invite someone who speaks French, and this has been usually this invitation has always turned out good, because I would normally invite someone to come and produce these French vowels, because many people speak French much better than I do, and many people speak French as their second language. So I wouldn't change anything. I would say that's perfect when they would produce them. And I'm really sorry we cannot do this in class, but you can try and produce them at home. So the first one would be corresponding to E, as in li. The second one would be le, and the third one would be le. So le and le. The fourth one would be a, la. The fifth one would be la, lash. The sixth one would be lok. The seventh one would be lo, and the eighth one would be lu. So these are quite neatly correspond to English vowels, and primary cardinal vowels as well. So I guess then Jones wanted to start from French, and there is nice symmetry between French vowel system and cardinal vowel system. Here, Daniel Jones was also a member of the IPA group, International Phonetic Association, and maybe they were buddies with Paul Passy, who was the president of the IPA when it adopted the cardinal vowel system classification. So that might be the origin of the cardinal vowels. So what was the idea behind the cardinal vowel system? Well, it was to describe vowels of the languages of the world in reference to cardinal vowels. Just as the cardinal points of compass, those little thing that you use for orientation, just as these cardinal points of north, for example, south and west and east provide reference points for orientation in geography, the cardinal vowels provide reference points for orientation in the vowel space. So Jones defined 18 cardinal vowels, 2 of which we will mention on the next slide, and we've already covered 16, using a mix of articulatory and perceptual properties. These are the extremes. So these are the extremes of articulation and do not correspond to actual vowel qualities in any particular language. So we do not find them in any particular language. It's just that we use same symbols for them, right? These qualities like ooh, that is completely to the back and very, very rounded and closed. It is not found actually in any language. The closest being, for example, French oo, but still not as high and as back as the cardinal vowel oo. So they define these cardinal vowels, the extremes, corners of the vowel space. And Jones trained his students, to perceive and produce the cardinal vowels exactly as he had defined them. And they trained their students, you saw the lineage, right? And they theirs, and so on and so forth, until it was possible to write about an unknown language in the IPA, in journal of the IPA, that, for example, the height of the vowel was halfway between cardinal vowels 7 and 8, right? Or the height of the vowel was 3/4 between E and U, or something like that. So these were vowels that referenced other vowels, and they were used for the ease of description. So, for example, you might find a vowel somewhere here, right, in the vowel system, in some vowel system, if you describe it very well. So maybe you can describe it's fronter than the cardinal vowel number 7, it's fronter than the cardinal vowel number 8, but it's halfway in terms of height. And that's how they describe them. In the modern day age, we do not need cardinal vowels anymore because we have modern software that helps us with the analysis. So that was the idea, and it's very important to stress that cardinal vowels do not exist in any language. They're just reference points. So there are some caveats, of course. Cardinal vowels are not the vowels of any language. I already said that. There were also 2 central cardinal vowels, which we called barred I and barred U. Barred because of this bar that's in the middle of them, right? And they sound something like this.
Number 17. Number 18.
Yeah, so imagine that this is the highest point of the vowel space, E and U, and this is like the centrality. Your vowels, E, barred E would be here, and barred U would be here, and you produce them with E. For example, you produce with your tongue a little towards the back, E, 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 and U with your tongue towards the front, so you would produce them U, 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 right? Something like that. Central vowels only appear in unstressed syllables in English, so pay attention to these. These are kind of lax vowels, right? And they appear only in unstressed syllables. But where they differ, where schwa, for example, differs from this I or I, is in that barred I appears in closed syllables, and schwa can appear in open syllables, as in about. So you would have one syllable here, about, like, and roses, right? So usually in closed syllables. And you can pay attention to it. It's actually quite prominent in English. When you transcribe English, when you listen to English, it's very prominent in, especially in these plural circumstances, when we have plural forms. Yeah, there is a friend of Dr. Steve Winters. His friend is called not Martin, but Martin. He is from South Africa, and I remember Steve telling us about this friend of his who prefers to be called, or his name is actually Martin, and you get this barred I in his name, right? For some reason, South Africans are using a non-rhotic dialect, right? And they have a lot of these barred I's and U's in their language. Also,
Number
pay attention
17.
to New Zealand and Scottish English.
Number 18.
I want to
Move spoons.
And I knew
Point
aphids to be
to
small,
words
green
listening to
insects
this
that lived on
sentence
plants.
first.
I could never figure it out.
But just a year ago we moved to Livingston. And it's a new house and it's in a new street. So it's basically in the middle of nowhere. But it's a new town. And so everything's all spaced out. There are little areas, but they're all spaced out with main roads. And it's not like you can just like go next door and see your friends or whatever.
Insects.
Yeah, so there's a lot of going on here. This person who is producing Scottish English, I think, is producing Canadian raising, actually.
And it's a new house.
House.
And it's a new house and it's in a new street.
Also a little bit of sh instead of s. We will learn about that.
So it's basically in the middle of nowhere.
And they're producing this hua, 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 alabio velar fricative.
Middle of nowhere.
Nowhere.
Basically in the middle of nowhere. But it's a new town. And so everything's all spaced out. There are little areas, but they're all spaced out with main roads. And it's not like you can just like go next door and they're all spaced out.
And there is also main roads. They are not using a full diphthong here, only one half of the diphthong. Main roads. Instead of main roads, they're saying main roads.
Main roads, and it's not like you can just like go next door and see your friends or whatever.
Yeah, and I wanted to maybe show you this one. Okay, if I manage.
Street, so it's basically in the middle of nowhere. But it's a new town, and so everything's all spaced out. There are little areas, but they're all spaced out with main roads, and it's not like you can just like go next door and see your friends or whatever.
Yeah, so they're producing, I think, barred U, as in
Moved. But just a year ago we moved to
moved, and here it is.
moved. Spoons.
Similar like the spoons that we learned about in from a speaker from Saskatoon. So Saskatchewan, I think, yeah, from Canada.
Spoons. Moved.
Yeah, and New Zealanders are also doing something interesting. They are producing barred E at this beginning of a word.
And I knew aphids to be small, green insects that lived on.
So they're producing insects. Insects.
Insects that lived on insects that lived on plants. I could never figure it out.
Yeah. So.
Insects.
Right. So There are these bar I and U are used in English, in varieties of English, quite a lot, so pay attention to those. Lastly, I'll just briefly list out the parting shots. First of all, cardinal vowels were based on an articulatory three-dimensional characterization of vowels: height, frontness, and roundedness. E is a high front unrounded vowel. O is a low mid back rounded vowel, for example. With the invention of the sound spectrograph in World War II, we kind of stopped using cardinal vowels, but it's good to understand how these work, because then you understand the mechanisms of the vowels, the production of the vowels. You also understand an acoustic, you have a better understanding of vowel distinctions, which are based on this acoustic and auditory distinction, and how we can now use software to basically distinguish between the vowels and not cardinal vowels anymore. But it's a fun system, and good to know about it, because as I said, it helps with distinguishing between the vowels just on paper. And if you have problems when listening to certain vowels, you can refer to cardinal vowels. Why not? Sometimes you don't have software at hand, right? So yeah, that would be it about cardinal vowels. I've talked for a very long time, and see you next next Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, right?